Yeah, I don't see what the big deal though is. It's like
Make it till you make it.
Yep.
Almost at the top of Blood Mountain, but we had to stop for the view. Unbelievable. Couldn't have asked for a better day. So this is the historic Blood Mountain shelter. I would imagine it gets pretty cold in here. Not just for being on top of a mountain, but also just, you know, everything's made of stone. Floors are stone. It's very cool though. And honestly, this huge rock, it's pretty sweet too. What can I say? Can't resist a good rock. So I gotta say, if you have the opportunity to slack pack this going southbound, I cannot recommend it enough. The steep 2-mile uphill was not that bad. And now, as a reward, we get a nice, super gradual downhill. And I am just loving life today. This is the best day so far. It's perfect. Love when everything just lines up. The weather, the trail, my physical condition. I don't want to jinx it, but everything seems to be just kind of working right now, and I am going to keep rolling with it. The cruiser miles just keep on coming. So just got down from Preacher Rock. I wanted to record more, but there were a lot of people down here. Up there, long day. It is very, very obvious why this is such a popular day hike among locals. We got about a mile down, and then we're gonna get picked back up and grab our stuff from the hostel. So we are right here. We only have to do all that.
Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, conservative.
Heading out there. It's gonna be a tough day.
Oh yeah.
Most elevation gain so far. My only concern is my Achilles tendon is definitely acting up a bit. So to remedy that, I swapped out the Ultra Lone Peak. Got some topos. Just a little bit of a heel to take some strain off the Achilles tendon. So we will see how that goes. So I started heading out of Neal's Gap, got about halfway up that climb, and my Achilles tendon just was not feeling good. It was getting worse as we continued. So unfortunately, everyone else continued on, and I am turning around and going to Neal's Gap for a 0 day. Well, I guess I've done a mile or two already, but for a 0 day, because I really, really do not want to push this Achilles tendon too hard. Probably staying at Neal's Gap. I might hitch into Blairsville just because there's no internet or apparently working water right now at Neal's Gap. But we will see. So I got to do the tour of the hostel I stayed in last night very quickly because it is pretty much checkout time and I accidentally slept in. So here is the main room. Very nice. Microwave, fridge, beautiful. A lot of finishers send thank you cards to this place. Go in here. And this is where I Slept. You got the zoomies? Oh my god! So, I decided against staying at Neil's Gap for a full 0. So I just hung out there for most of the day, rested my tendon for a second day, and now I'm hiking out and I'm gonna set up my tent not too far. I'm already about 1.5 miles in. I want to try to maybe go 3 miles before I set up. I know that there's an established tent site about 5 miles away, but I will make it there before dark, and it's windy, so I'll set up my tent happily. If it's windy, I'll happily set up my tent if it's dark, but windy and dark just doesn't sound fun, so I will not be going to that one. Setting up somewhere closer. So last night was insane. There was 35 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts. My tent was shaking. There were wild boars walking around. They were walking around for like 2 hours or something like that, sniffing around and like squealing, and oh my god, it was just insane. It's cold as hell this morning. It's still windy as hell. Thankfully I have a short day today to do. Like I said, I'm still keeping it slow because the Achilles tendon's a little important to hiking. So I don't want to beat it up too bad. So slow day today, which let me sleep in just a little bit. It's 8 o'clock, but it's time to get moving. We're on top of this mountain. This beautiful little section of trail here. It's been very open woods pretty consistently, but I get some, not alpine, but alpine-y type environment with the grass on top and everything. Love this stuff. Beautiful ridge walk. Little windy though. Definitely not the most inspiring water source. It's like barely a trickle. I don't even know if there's enough for me to get. Oh, kinda. Alright, I'm gonna be here for a while. Now this is a water source. Let's go. 0.9 miles to Hogpen Gap, but 1,000 feet of elevation gain. This one's gonna be steep, but I'm gonna take my time. Doesn't matter how long it takes me. I will get up it. Such a steep climb. So worth it. Wow. So ended up doing about 7.5 today, which was like perfect. I was gonna stop a little earlier, but then we decided to push a little bit. We're staying at just a random spot in the woods, stealth site. Ramen for dinner. Camping with a guy named Mr. Freeze, who I actually met on day 1, and we've been bouncing around each other. Tomorrow's going to be another day very similar to today, just hopefully with less steep climbs. Just another slow one, and day after that we should be at Unicoi Gap. So, today's objective is to get in that little notch right there, which will leave us with just 3 miles to get into Unicoi Gap the next day. Thus far, I've been pooping in the woods. Now, get my first privy. Let's do a privy review. There's walls, so I'd say automatic 5 out of 10. Maybe we'll stick with 5 out of 10. Just met a family of 6 that is through hiking. It's 2 parents and 4 kids. It's unbelievable. The logistics involved, I can't even begin to imagine what that's like. We just took a good break at our last water source. We are going 4 miles, preferably, to Spaniard Knob tent site. And if we can't make it there before dark, then we will be stealth camping again. The wind is absolutely insane today. I haven't even been able to record for the last couple miles just because the wind was just unrelenting. Thankfully, dipped down to the other side of the ridge that I was on and listen. Dead quiet down here. Dead quiet down here, so it's nice to get a break. The wind really wears on you after like 4 consistent miles of thankfully only about 1.5 miles from our planned site, so stoked. So great news, everybody. So like I said, I've been taking it super easy today. I made it to the tent site we wanted to stay at, and the wind was just way too much. The good news is that then I realized, oh, I physically feel fine. My Achilles tendon has been very well behaved today. And I've just been taking it so easy. Never even really got a chance to test it, but yeah, so I just decided I'm gonna go another mile and maybe sleep at a shelter, or at least use the shelter as a windbreak for my tent. And yeah, I could not be happier right now. Gonna be a cold one tonight. Last night was the coldest night by far. It got down to about 10 degrees last night with wind chill. I came up here to avoid the wind. It was still windy. I have to talk really quietly right now because people sleeping all around me. I think everyone's sleeping in a little bit because of how cold it is. Give it like an hour, it'll get a little bit warmer, but I'm just trying to get out of here and get to Unicoi. Nice short day, followed by a nice hostel stay ahead. I just successfully reserved the last bunk at the hostel, and thank God, because we had gusts up to 35 miles an hour last night. It got down to 10 at least. That was the coldest that I saw, but I'm sure it got a little colder in the night. And so I could not be more excited for a hostel day. So, made it to the hostel. Everything went according to the plan. Picked up the shuttle from Unicoi Gap and checked in at the hostel. They offer shuttles at noon, at 4, and at 5. I took the first option at noon and went into Hiawassee, and me and Mr. Freeze each ate about 3,000 calories worth of McDonald's in a single sitting, which was so good. That really hit the spot. Everyone else went out to dinner, so I'm here by myself, still recovering from the McDonald's. And yeah, just gonna relax. Tomorrow, I'm going to go back into Hiawassee and get my tent from the post office. Couldn't do it today because it's a Sunday and obviously those are closed. Then I have to do a quick repair on that tent that I'm picking up, the X Dome, and then we will be good to go for the next stretch from Unicoi Gap to Dix Creek Gap. So I'm super stoked.